Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Football Martin channel. This is the third video going out on the channel today. Thank you all very much for joining me. We're having a deep dive into the Forest preview now. I'm going to be joined by a Southampton fan, Harrison, very, very shortly. But if you haven't seen my interview this afternoon, I joined a Forest fan for an in-depth outlook from their side, Forest, and their thoughts about coming down to Southampton. But now we're going to have a real Southampton focus. We're going to look back on the result last weekend against Newcastle United. We're going to look ahead to this weekend's game, and we've also going to recap Russell Martin's press conference, which took place a day earlier down at Staplewood today. I'm going to bring in Harrison now. He will be very familiar to you. He's been on the channel many times in my match day content. So a massive welcome to Harrison, who joins us first time live on the Football Martin channel. Harrison, welcome along, mate.
Hi, mate. You okay?
Yeah, I'm in good form. We've just been chatting. I think probably the best place to start. We had a little chat before we come on air, and we were reflecting upon the Newcastle game last weekend. Let's go back to our opening Premier League game at St James's Park. You watched it. What were your thoughts on the performance from the boys?
I mean, we had a lot of possession. I thought it was sort of like a showcase for Russell Martin to see if he could actually produce that style of play in the Premier League. And we went up against a really tough opponent. We have to remember, like Eddie Howe's teams, Newcastle, they're very well organised. They're very good defensively. He did that work with Simeone, didn't he? Where he went off to Atletico in between Bournemouth and Newcastle, where he sort of built his defensive style of the game better. And they are very good at defending. I mean, we've seen their clean sheet record. Not last season because they had a lot of injuries, but the season before, they've had a very good clean sheet record. Now, yet again, they got a clean sheet against us. They are just very good at defending. I would say our style of play, it evidently, it looked promising. There was a lot to take away from that game as a Saints fan and feel happy with. But at the end of the day, they went down to 10 men, luckily, we might add, but they went down to 10 men. And we didn't capitalise. I mean, we should be walking away from that game with a point. I mean, I don't know what the possession stats were, but I know they were in the 70s. I mean, we absolutely dominated. And their real only chance came from a mistake that we gave them. I mean, how many times last season did we see games where we were dominating and yet we give away a mistake and they capitalise it? I mean, the Premier League is brutal. It's something we're going to have to look at going forward, making sure that, any mistake we make, they will capitalise on it. They're too good quality. I mean, you go from Isak to Joe Linton and it's a goal.
Yeah, so it was quite incredible. You spoke about the possession stats and Southampton dominated the game. I thought even with 11v11, Saints were really good in that first half. But they had 78% possession, Southampton, compared to the 22 of Newcastle. 19 goal attempts from Southampton compared to the 3 of Newcastle. They had just the one shot a goal compared to our 5. But like you say, a mistake cost Southampton the points on the day.
I mean, but that's the main point. We take 19 shots and only 5 of them are on target. So with all that possession and all of the attacking football, we need to be making sure we're more clinical. I mean, the fact that we've taken 19 shots and only 5 of them on target are slightly worrying about our forwards to be able to stick it in the back of the net, and the fact that none of them went in. I mean, I think back and I look at Brenton Diaz's chance where he sneaks in front of the defender and he basically just needs to get it on target and it's a goal. And he completely misheaders it. There's another opportunity where Brenton Diaz again, he dummies the ball for Armstrong, and Armstrong sort of just taps it towards the bottom corner, and the goalkeeper manages to get. I think they defend it off the line, but it's just another showing of the quality of defending that Newcastle have. That we had 19 shots and 5 of them are on target. The amount of blocks they got on, the amount of little nudges they got as you're taking shots, just enough to put you off. They really are very good at it, and it shows that we need to be better if we're going to try and stay up.
We do. We can't finish talking about the weekend's game without talking about that sending off, can we? Because there was that coming together around the 30th minute between Fabian Schär and Ben Brereton Diaz, and it resulted in Schär being sent off for Newcastle. What was your thoughts as a fan watching it? Not the round, was it really, from the two of them? Really handbags to start with, and it got pretty fiery pretty quickly.
I mean, I've been listening to it all week. I mean, on TalkSport, I mean, Souness and Simon Jordan going on about it all week. It was quite interesting. That, I mean, lots of fans are disgusted with it. Personally, you know, I don't want it. I don't like it. He's pushed him in the back. He's caused an altercation. He's got a player. He's managed to buy getting a player sent off. I mean, let's be honest. It's a bit of a dive. He's not really been touched. I mean, according to the actual law itself, the law is around aggression from face contact, unless the force used is negligible. That's the actual written word of the rule. And I think we can all agree the force used was literally negligible. I don't think he barely even touches Diaz, and he makes the most of it. So I can understand, being any fan other than a Saints fan watching it, you'd be absolutely livid with it being given. However, we have many a time been on the wrong end of a red card. I think the 9-0 game against Man United screams out to me that we lost. So we know how it feels to be on the wrong end of a red card. We don't like it, but at the same time, it gave us a great opportunity to go on and win the game. We didn't do it anyway, so they've got the 3 points. Ideally, their players shouldn't be banned, and he should be eligible for the next game. Diaz has bought it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Well, since that game against Newcastle, the club have been busy in the transfer window. There's plenty going on by the sounds of it, and there could be some more incomings. I think there will be some outgoings as well. Today, Mateus Liz, the goalkeepers, left. We didn't really see anything of Liz at all, but Sekou Mara did depart. I think it was yesterday. Mara departed.
I would have drove him up there myself.
Yeah, you're pretty much of the same opinion about Sekou Mara as me. He's not done enough, has he, in a Southampton shirt?
For me, the worst part about it is his work rate at times. There would be times where he'd come on, he'd show a flash of pace, he'd show a bit of physicality, and you think, oh, okay, we might see something here. And then he'd go missing for 10 minutes of the game, where he just wasn't producing anything, wasn't pressing, like lackadaisical in the midfield. Like, he's such a frustrating player to watch, especially. I mean, there were times when we were watching him at home last season, where the fans are just getting so frustrated with him, because he seems to always make the wrong decision. The pass is always at the wrong time. When he should dribble, it's at the wrong time. When he should press, he presses. When he shouldn't press, he does press. He was a frustrating player. I think how much did we get from 15 million?
Yeah, unbelievable. 50 million euros.
I genuinely think we've done so well. I would have drove him up there myself. I mean, he was so frustrating to watch as a Saints fan. It's sort of like good riddance, which is sad to say about any player, but it just does your head in.
Yeah, no, I'm pleased he's gone, but Cameron Archer's come in, an upgrading player, you would have to say. Cameron Archer. Russell Martin was speaking in the press conference today. He spoke about Archer because they'd not really had a chance to speak about him, because he obviously signed late on Friday after the press conference last week. He was asked by Adam Blackmore, I believe, about Cameron Archer, and obviously they did their research on him. He's played with quite a few of the boys in the dressing room as well. He spoke very highly of him, didn't he?
Yeah, he said sort of in training he's been putting the ball in the back of the net quite a lot. However, he's up against our defence, which conceded one of the most in the Championship last season. So I don't know what that says about him. It's difficult, you know. He's not managed to make a claim in Villa's side, and obviously Villa have become a very good side the last few years under Emery. So that's probably not quite the level for him. He looks promising. I mean, he's got all the right attributes. It's just whether he's going to work for us. How many times do we see players come to Saints with the right attitude and the right attributes, but just don't seem to get any luck? For me, it all depends on how he gels with our front line and how Russell Martin's going to play him, because at the moment we've got Diaz and Armour, and we sort of know where they're going to play every week. And I know Armour was prolific on the right wing for us last season in the Championship, but I just think against defenders in the Premier League, is he going to struggle out on that right wing against Premier League defenders, because they are a class above those in the Championship technically. So is he going to get those half chances that he seems to put away as much? Is he going to be clinical enough? Because you need to be putting it in the corners for goals to go in. I mean, when I looked down, because we're in search for a goalkeeper at the moment, when I looked at the goalkeepers in the Premier League at the moment, every team seems to have, I personally think, a goalkeeper better than ours. Every team in the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
I look down and I just think what we have to do to score compared to what other teams have to do, it doesn't seem a lot. I personally think our goalkeeper is our weakest point in the team. I think a lot of fans feel that way, which is why we're so heavily linked with every goalkeeper out there at the moment. But yeah, that's what I would say. Is Archer going to produce?
Is he going to score enough? Yeah.
Is he going to score enough alongside Diaz and Armour? We need all three of them to be scoring. We don't need. I mean, it doesn't matter if Archer scores 16 goals. That still might not be enough to keep us up. It doesn't matter if Armour keeps us with 16 goals. We need all of them to be getting, 10, 12 goals for us to stand a chance. Our midfield to be chipping in. We need to be. You need to score goals to stay up. It's that simple.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do wonder how we're going to hurt teams. Obviously, since the signing of Archer, there's been a couple more in the door as well. A young lad, Matthias Fernandez, has come in. Russell spoke about him in the press conference today. I'm not convinced that he's going to come in and play straight away. We spoke about it before we come on the live. Sounds like a very promising young player. They're really pleased to land him by the sounds of it as well. His statistics were decent last season, though he was out on loan. He spent the majority of his season out on loan last year. I've got his statistics here. I'm going to ping them up on the screen for anybody that's not seen them. This is Matthias Fernandez's statistics. He was a Sporting Lisbon player, but he did go out on loan. He played 28 games last season, scored just the once, got a couple of assists as well. He made 39 chances, got a decent pass accuracy, likes to move the ball forward. He looks to go forward all the time. And I think he's definitely one for the future. I just don't see Harrison, this young man, being somebody that we're going to see anytime soon. Would you agree with that?
Looking at the press conference, it seems that Russell Martin said he is a promising player. He's very happy to get him through the door. I mean, my favourite part was his dig at Adam Blackmore that he said. Adam Blackmore was boasting about having the Sporting Lisbon manager on some show, and he just went, "Oh, well done." It was a bit like the In-Betweeners. It was quite funny. That was my favourite bit. But Matthias, I don't know him very well. Obviously, he's sort of come out of nowhere. Apparently, he's been on a lot of teams' radar. But yet again, that's paper talk. You don't really know. So he looks promising. The manager said that he's trying to get him to play the way, obviously, Flynn plays for the team. He says that he played a similar role for Sporting Lisbon, or Sporting, whatever they're called now. That basically it's similar, but it's not quite what he wants. So he's almost trying to train him out of that stuff and train him into the stuff that he wants him to do. It basically sounds like it's going to be a few weeks until we see him. He might come on as a feature as a sub a couple of times, but as a starting player, I don't see it for a good couple of weeks until he's got him right where he wants him. We see that a lot of the time when we're sort of signing a player. I mean, the one who surprised me the most is Saguara. I mean, he's come in and he just looked great from the start.
Yeah, he did. He come in. He looked good the weekend. He said, and he only took him off for tactical purposes, really. Anyway, we were almost playing a 5 at the back. He just needed to bring an extra midfielder on, which he did at half time, and rightly so. It was nothing to do with his performance that he come off, and I think he'd be a really good player for us. He will end up being the replacement at right back, and I think Russell's playing his best 2 fullbacks at this moment in time. We'll come on to our predicted lineups for the game against Forest at the weekend. It'd be interesting to see what Russell does. But there was one more signing this week as well who we need to speak about, Leslie Ungo Chikawu, if I pronounced it correctly. Even Russell said, hopefully one of the guys in the press conference, he said, "You said it better than me." No idea if I've got that correct, but a very, very promising player. Chelsea fans really disappointed that he left Chelsea. Sounds like a very good player. Do you think he's somebody that we may see the weekend? We'd think he'd be in the squad, wouldn't you?
To be honest, yet again, we're linked with every player under the sun at the moment, as per the transfer window. He's come in. He's not that old. How old is he?
Young. I think he's in 19. Is he 19, 20? I'm going to
Yeah,
look it up
so
now as we speak.
he's a young player. They've sort of got him out the door because they're desperate to sell players. We don't know what he's going to be like. I haven't seen much about him. You hear all the same stuff, like he's promising. I don't see him getting in our midfield, anytime soon. As I said, he might be a sub, but we'll see. Hopefully, he's a promising player. Yet more to see.
He can play in the 6 role as well, by the looks of things. So that will definitely free up, probably by the looks of it, that Shay Charles is going to go out on loan to Sheffield Wednesday, play for Danny Rowell, who we know well from his time down at St Mary's under Ralph Hasenhüttl. I think that'd be a really good move for him. I think it could be the making of him. I did a tweet this morning. I actually feel Shay Charles has got great potential. I don't want us to sell him because I think he just needs to go away and play football. He probably didn't get anywhere near the game time he probably wanted last season. But to go and play in the Championship under a really good manager, I think that'd be a good move for Shay Charles.
Is it on loan or are they selling him?
A loan, yeah, it's going to be a loan.
A loan, okay.
Yeah,
So that's good. He needs game time, doesn't he? He needs to get a consistent role. He needs to learn sort of the midfield position. I mean, it's good playing under 21s, but he's ready now to play consistently in a first team. So great for him. He seems like a nice guy. Comes across well in an interview. He's always played for the badge. Every time I've seen him come on, especially when we play away and if we're up a couple of goals and they're trying to protect Flynn Downs or they're trying to protect Smallbone and they bring someone on, they normally bring him on. And his work rate seems to be, his work rate is excellent. He always seems to just press until he drops. So yeah, we can't ask much more of him. But he needs to go and get that real quality somewhere else and sort of learn his game consistently in the midfield.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But we need to come on to the weekend's game against Nottingham Forest. We'll give you our predicted lineups as well. And if you're tuning in, watching the show live as well, we're going to get your thoughts in the comments box below. We're going to get score predictions as well from Harrison. I'm going to give you mine as well. I've been on a couple of shows today, so I'm going to stick with the same prediction that I've used everywhere. But we'll come on to that at the very end. So we need to look ahead to the game against Nottingham Forest. I've done a little bit of research. I've got the head-to-head statistics for you as well. So here it goes. This is Southampton's head-to-head with Nottingham Forest. At St Mary's, we played Forest 6 times. We've won 2, we've lost 3, and we've drawn the 1. How are you feeling about this one, Harrison? Looking at the statistics, plenty of goals scored, pretty much equal each. I think we've scored 20, they've scored 20. I think it could be a game of goals. I'm not sure about yourself.
It's a difficult one to call. It's the first home game of the season. We don't know what the new atmosphere is going to be like with the back wall. We hope it's going to be even more than it was in the Championship last season. There's been a lot of talk about atmosphere in the build-up to the home game. I mean, it's been mentioned a lot of times, especially in every press conference. I think the atmosphere we create can make a big difference. We need to. For me, I think we have to win it. I won't be happy walking away with a draw. It's a home game against a team that are beatable. They have a lot of quality. They've got a really good manager in Nuno Espirito. So we need to take this opportunity to really make a claim on the Premier League to say we are here to stay. For me, it's must win. So I see us getting goals. I also see us leaking goals currently because we still have the same goalkeeper. And they're really potent with set pieces. I watched their highlights on the weekend, and they had a few chances from set pieces. They work them very well. The only issue I have is with them is they didn't really create many chances. The chance they did score was a rebound off the goalkeeper, where the goalkeeper had managed to block it and basically just palmed it back into the player running in. So they didn't create really many clean cut chances. So that could be good for us. If we can get a well organised defence. There's a player in their midfield that's a new signing. I don't know quite how to say his name. If I get up one.
Had the joys of chatting to one of their fans this afternoon from the Forest Focus, which is a Nottingham Forest podcast. And he said that they've done some sensible business this time in the transfer, where they signed a centre back that he was really impressed with. He's come in, he said he played particularly, he thinks he's been particularly good in pre-season. They're excited.
Yeah, he seems to be their player to dictate their game, their tempo. He's sort of like their Arthur Downs. He sort of makes the tackles, breaks the play
is
up.
It Murillo? Murillo, I think he called it. Is it Murillo? Yeah, Murillo, he called him. Yeah, he says he's really good.
Sangaré, Ibrahim Sangaré, I've got. Is that number 6?
Yeah.
So he seems to be
a very good player.
Yeah, so he seems to break up the play and make those passes forward. He's got a really good pass on him. So I think if we can sort of shut his game down with our press, we might stand a chance. We should stand a chance to beat them. Obviously, they've got a lot of quality up front. They've got a lot of experienced Premier League players.
Chris
now.
Wood's always a handful. He always seems to do well against us, Chris Wood, doesn't he? He's a player that always ends up scoring against us.
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi. They've got obviously Anthony Elanga, Morgan Gibbs-White. They've got a lot of players that can cause us a threat. Morgan Gibbs-White is obviously he can always produce moments, and I think that's, for me, the biggest worry as a Saints fan going into the Premier League is last season when we seemed to concede. We conceded in moments. We would be all on top of the game, and then suddenly there'd be a loose pass, or there would be a tackle, or we'd get fouled that wasn't picked up, and then they play on through, and then they would score a goal, and there would be lots of moments like that where teams just seem to just click for a moment, and then they're through on goal and they score. And really counter us well. And I think that's what we need to worry about with Forest, because they have quick players, they're well organised, and there will be times where they get moments, and we just got to be careful of them.
Yeah, there's some interesting matchups as well, I think. Certainly like Hudson-Odoi up against Siguara as well. I think that's a really interesting matchup. Chris Wood against Taylor Harwood-Bellis. He's a physical player, Chris Wood. We know what he's like. And Morgan Gibbs-White, he just sits in that hole and he picks up in the pocket, doesn't he? So that'd be down to Flynn Downs to do a job on him. Flynn Downs was good the weekend, but I don't think this is an easy game. A lot of people think it'd be a game that we should comfortably win, but we won't. It won't be easy. I've got a pretty horrible statistic for your Southampton fans as well, because since moving from the Dow to St Mary's in 2001, Southampton have struggled in opening Premier League home openers, securing just one victory out of 16. That lone win came in 2004 with a thrilling 3-2 victory over Blackburn Rovers at St Mary's. Since then, Southampton have failed to win any of their opening 11 Premier League home openers. So it doesn't look great. If you're looking at history, I'm not convinced that always counts, but starting well at St Mary's for me this weekend is an absolute must. You spoke about the fans. There's been a change at St Mary's, a lot of talk about. Russell spoke about it in the press conference as well. He was asked about the all-standing northern stand this season. Do you think it's going to make a massive difference, Harrison, to the atmosphere in St Mary's? It should do, shouldn't it?
I mean, I think they said that, is there a 7,000 section of standing fans now?
Yeah.
So before, I mean, us fans will know this, that we had our fans sort of behind the goal, and then we had the away fans next to us, and then we had our other set of fans just on the left, just around the side from them, and we would sing out of sync because we couldn't hear each other over the away fans.
So true.
So now we've got this whole wall where we can actually try and create this united voice, hopefully. And the away fans are quite far the other end, which is a shame because we like to give them stick when they're near us. That's sort of part of the atmosphere. But it'll be the stand over there that are now giving them some stick. But hopefully it should make such a difference. We'll have that sort of wall behind of 7,000 fans that can really try and make a difference.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. The away fans moved as well. Hopefully, it will all work well. I think it will. Fan zone opens this week as well in the northern car park that looks to be open. Really excited to go and see that. I'm going to get down to St Mary's quite early the weekend because I want to go and check it out. It looks really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely. They've created 3 new fan zones by the looks of it, which looks exciting, and they've updated a lot of the food around the site. So hopefully as long as they haven't got rid of their chicken tikka pie, which we all love. Absolutely incredible bit of grub.
You love it.
But yeah, I would say the only thing I'm worried about, and it's funny, I had a lot of Nottingham Forest fans complaining on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, about getting into the stadium with their new system. And it made a massive difference to their atmosphere first game of the season, because some fans were waiting 20 minutes. I think if you remember back to last season, we had a problem with our with memberships and with season ticket holder tickets actually getting out in time. They had a production issue, and we had a similar problem. And we've obviously got this new ticketing system on the apps. I think we're all just, I'm just praying that it's going to work better than last season, and that we don't have the same issue.
Yeah, hopefully everybody gets there a little bit earlier. I think they're asking fans to get there a bit earlier this weekend, because I believe they've got cards on the chairs and things like that. I think they've got a few things
I like that point.
Games. So yeah, it's really good. Yeah, attacking it in the second half is really good. Really good point by Mark. Totally agree with you. Jack, you've just joined the live as well. Thank you for tuning in, Jack. Really appreciate your support and coming to watch us chat all things Southampton this evening. Right, we need to talk about our potential starting 11, Harrison, for the weekend. Do you see the same 11 that started the game at St James's Park?
Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the same. The only thing I wonder, but it doesn't sound like he's going to do it, is whether he'll try Lumley in goal. I mean, personally, I think might be better the devil you know. Watching him a couple of times last season, I've never seen a goalkeeper make these most random runs out of the box, thinking that they can get to the ball, and then twice I watched it happen last season, where they'd run out the box trying to get a ball he couldn't get to, and then the defence had to scramble to stop an open goal tapping going in. He is very good. He's good with his feet. However, he likes to man his box, but he's very aggressive with his box. Sometimes too aggressive, where he leaves us open. Every fan knows we need a goalkeeper. I mean, we're going around in circles with this. I mean, apparently we've got a loan deal for Ramsdale. We've put an offer in, as well as Wolves. We've got a player from Feyenoord, a goalkeeper from Feyenoord that we're linked to. Russell Martin said it's one of the many. So we need to see. My only change would be whether he'll try Lumley in goal. But I think if he's gone through all the way through pre-season with McCarthy, and the defence are used to McCarthy, he seems all about. He'll probably stick with him. It seems it's all like it wasn't McCarthy's fault. It was my fault for asking him to play this way, or it was the defender's fault.
He should have had the ball back to him. Yeah.
He should never have had the ball back to him, or from the throw-in, it never should have ended up. It's just a bunch of excuses for the fact that he passed it to the only man in the box that was unmarked. And it's like he just didn't even see him there. Like, there was a perfectly good easy pass on the right that he could have passed to, rather than the three players on the left. The player on the right, I can't remember who it was so open, it was unreal. And he panicked and passed it directly to Isak, who squared it across the box. And with Joe Linton's quality, McCarthy was scrambling and didn't matter. He put it straight in the top corner, didn't he?
Yeah, so never missing.
So it's one howler that stopped us from getting points on the board first game of the season,
which is infuriating, really, as a fan, isn't it?
It's so frustrating, especially to fans that travel up there. I mean, I didn't go this time, but I went up to Sunderland last season and we lost 5-0. And you travel all that way at just to see. I mean, at least they saw at least a half decent performance, but it's just heartbreaking traveling all the way back down, and all the costs to even go up there. And then they have the cheek to stick us up in the gods, which is against Premier League rules anyway. Yeah, it's supposed to stick us pitch side.
It's so far up. It's so far up. Regards to the team at the weekend, when you look at it, the midfield three really impressed me the weekend. If he's going to bring Archer in to start, which we both think he probably will, I think he's got to go for it a little bit more at home and not be too cautious, though he's making it harder to be. It's who drops out the side, do you think, to bring Cameron Archer in if he does do that at the weekend?
If he does do that, he'll be forced to either play Walker Peters as a winger, and play a back four with Stevens at left back, or he'll have to drop one of the midfielders, which will leave us very exposed with only two midfielders.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is that he probably starts without Archer, and he'll probably come on at half time if one of the players is looking. He'll use him off the bench. I do think he'll basically stick with the same lineup and just stick with his guns. We know what he's like. He's quite a stubborn manager. If he sees it was working, he thinks it's working, he will just stick with it until it does, or it doesn't, and then we'll be really in the poo.
Yeah, no, I'm very much with you on that. When you look at the midfield throughout the weekend, I thought Downs, Smallbone, and Aribo worked really well together. Smallbone really stepped up and played really well in the Premier League. A lot of question marks whether he could do it, but I thought he linked play really well. His movement off the ball was brilliant, very workmanlike off the ball as well. Saints without the ball, they were really good at the weekend, and that all come down to Smallbone and Aribo working really hard with Downs. They got around him, and they always give him an option when he got on the ball. Aribo, I like him, but I don't see him as a match winner. I don't see him someone that's going to go and unlock a defence and play that killer pass and win us a game. But he's workmanlike, and it's hard to leave him out with the performances that both of them put in at the weekend. All three of them were brilliant in midfield. So yeah, I think we'll be pretty close to that same starting 11. It's just whether, like you say, he goes with the back five and makes us hard to beat, or he goes for it that little bit more. It will be interesting to see. Give us your thoughts in the comments box below. If you're live watching the show, give me your thoughts. Drop Stevens and play a flat four. Play Diaz left wing, Archer centre forward, and Armstrong right wing. I'm not convinced they play Stevens at left back. You never know. Jimmy Cheese is in the chat as well. Thank you for joining, mate. A channel well worth a follow. Southampton fans. He's a really good Southampton content creator as well, putting some great vlog content out as well. When Aribo first joined us, he was taking on defenders. He's lost something. Yeah, that's very true. It's a good point, Harrison.
Well,
he has lost a little something, hasn't he? He's got stronger and fitter, but he doesn't play like he used to play.
He's been coached out of it, hasn't he? Russell Martin is very much use the wingers, create chances through passing and possession, and a midfielder that is willing to try and beat one or two players right in the midfield is worrying for him, because he's like, no, just play the pass and we'll get up the field. What I did notice is something he said in his press conference, is he said that we need to be better on transition. He said we need to be more aggressive on transition. So as if to say, he actually is now gone the opposite way and might be encouraging players to maybe take on a player or two. If to say, in transition, we need to go for it. If we see the opportunity to counter them, we need to go and hit them. So we'll see. I really like Aribo. I think he's got all the attributes to be a great player. I mean, we know that he had an impact in some Europa League games for is it Rangers?
Yeah, it was at Rangers. Yeah, it was at Rangers.
For Rangers, we know he can play at a high level. For me, I really love watching him. As you said, he's got sort of that. He has this ability to drop his shoulder and suddenly turn. And for such a big player, you're like, how does he do that? But he is able to slip past the defenders and midfielders in tight spaces. So I think our best chance is to get him on the game personally, and see if he can create that killer pass that you were talking about. You haven't seen it much yet. I think there were times in the Championship where he was our best player at times. In moments, he wasn't consistent enough to sort of take that title, but he was definitely very good in moments. It's just whether he can do that on Saturday.
It's a good point. Nuno's counter-attacking football may mean we might play into their hands. Potentially, I just don't think we'll be gung-ho. I just wonder if I'm not convinced we will be gung-ho. What else do we have in the comments box below? Fabio tweet about Alcaraz saying he could leave next week. I don't think there's any surprise that Alcaraz will probably go out in this window. I like to see him stay personally, but I don't think he will do. Still think he's got loads to offer. I would like to see him come on a little bit earlier at the weekend. I think he's probably one of the only sort of like players that can keep the ball and really find that killer pass at times. I I think he's got something about him, but I'm not convinced that Russell trusts him to start him. So yeah, I think he'd go. He want football, Harrison, when he Carlos Alcaraz, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and he's too good of a player not to get football. And for me, it's a flip of a coin who we play every week between him and Aribo. And for me, the only reason Alcaraz doesn't work as well is because Smallbone's become quite an attacking midfielder. To the point he's become very box to box and sort of at times the one sort of leading the midfield, with at times Aribo dropping behind. So Alcaraz for me, he constantly wants the ball. You saw when he came on, he's getting frustrated when he's not getting the ball. He just wants to get the ball and try something. And a lot of the times it doesn't work, but I like him because he's trying. He's trying to unlock defenses. He has a little bit of quality that some of the other players don't have in our team. For me, it is a shame if he goes, a real shame, because I think for me, he's one of the players that I think could be Premier League quality consistently if he was given minutes. But we knew last year Russell Martin wasn't too fussed about him going away on loan. He obviously doesn't like him for the style of play, or he doesn't think he's as best suited as other players. So he needs to go and get minutes. It did seem like he wasn't. He was open. He's open to the idea of going, by the sounds of it, but ideally he wanted to stay and fight for his place in the Premier League. But I think the club sort of want the extra funds to fund their other players. Yeah, so there we are.
Interesting you talk about the extra funds,
exactly the same thing.
Yeah, the interesting tweet from Fabrizio Romano, I've just read it. He was pretty much saying that Lazio want him on loan. They want to loan him. I don't see Southampton loaning him. I think, just like Nick says there, I believe they will try and sell him and raise some funds. Jimmy, with a really good conversation, really good point here. Their front three looks scary fast. Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, Gibbs-White. They've done good business. Yeah, I agree.
I'm glad Chris Wood wasn't in that. I agree. I said that they've got some really fast attackers, and it plays right into Nuno's hands. He loves his attacking football. So it's all about how we use how we play against them. And I've just seen a point there. I'm happy to take the cash. It's about how we reinvest it, isn't it? For me,
how we reinvest.
We haven't bought many, if any, established players, the ones that are going to come in and just start. We've had a lot of, they look promising. Archer, he hasn't played for a while, but he looks really promising. He's not been able to get a lot of first team. We need, if we're going to go and get a player, for me, Alcaraz is someone who can start. So we need to go and get another player who can start and challenge Smallbone, Downs and Aribo, because you need challenge in the squad in order to drive them to be better.
I totally agree. I totally and utterly agree. Yeah, I'm so with you on that. It's been a great show. I really enjoyed having you on, but I can't let you go, Harrison, without getting a score prediction from the weekend. There's 26 of you watching live. I know plenty of people will catch up on the show at a slightly later time in the next sort of 24, 48 hours. So get involved in the comments box below. We want your score predictions. Give me your thoughts on how you think the game will go at the weekend. Give me your goal scorers, man of the match as well. Harrison, score prediction from you, my friend.
2-1 Saints, and I think it'll be Armour and Diaz's first goals, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think there's going to be goals. I'm actually going to go with a draw. I don't think a draw is what I want to win. I think we have to win, especially going to Brentford next week, which is really
You're going to jinx it, Martin.
Yeah, but followed by Man United the week after. So I'm very much, we've got the international break before Man United, but I'm going to go with 2-2. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. The score predictions are coming in. I certainly hope it's not 0-0.
0-0?
That's for sure. We don't want to see a 0-0. Jack saying 2-1 Saints. Mark's gone with 2-1 Southampton as well. I think 2-1 would be great. To see our first Premier League goals and to see our first Premier League win would be absolutely magnificent if we can pull it off. 4-2 Saints, says Joseph White. There'll be some goals, that will be sure. I think two sides that are definitely going to have a go, that's for sure. And like you say, Forest can play on the counter-attack as well. Keep them coming. Last couple of minutes of the show before we go. Steve's gone with a 2-1 Southampton win. As more and more of you joining the live as it's coming to an end, but you can catch up on the full preview of Southampton Forest and I look back at Russell Martin's press conference. We have digested that over the last 40 minutes or so, and I've got a full preview from the Nottingham Forest side, which is now live over on my YouTube channel as well. Go and check that out as well. A really good lowdown on what to expect from Nottingham Forest. Harrison, you've been an absolute superstar tonight, joining me on the Football Martin channel. You will be back, absolutely, won't you, throughout the season? You join me on match day as well, don't you?
Yeah, occasionally we bump into each other, getting that red jet home back to the Isle of Wight. So, yeah, I'm sure I'll see you. And yeah, we'll have a good chat next time we see. Thanks for having me on.
He said we clashed with Match Day Vlogs. I didn't realise he was live tonight. We need to. I should have looked actually. I'm not sure what time they went out tonight, but we need to probably go out and look. I need to look at their timers. That's my bad actually. I was on TikTok, but we will definitely look to mix these up. Might do some Fridays if we can, depending on my work arrangements and stuff as well. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for everyone tuning in, watching us live, and it'll be on the channel on catch up if you're tuning in now as well. Thank you very much. Have a great Thursday evening. We'll see you at St Mary's on Saturday.